What's good, everybody? We are about to go live in 5, 4. We actually already are live, but I'm about to go live. We are about to go live. Like, we are about to say lights, camera, and action in 3, 2, 1. What's good, everybody? It's your host, Richard Linares, and it is an amazing night here. It is Tuesday. What day of the week? It's Tuesday, right? 8 p.m. What's the day of the week? Today's the 18th?
18th.
The 18th of February. Valentine's Day is out of our system for some of us. Some of us were still dealing with the trauma of being by ourselves that day and stuff like that. But we're here. We're alive. It has been a ridiculously crazy week for myself. I got to spend some time going to Arizona, to go from Arizona to go to visit my abuelita. And we went to go visit my abuelita, had a really good time, then came back and unfortunately had to cut my vacation short and then head back over here to attend to a situation that involved my friend and her daughter. I want to thank all of you guys that have been connected with me and been praying for Layla. Layla is actually now back home with her mother and she is recovering miraculously, because if you take into consideration that she was taken to VCMC, from VCMC transported via helicopter to Los Angeles Children's Hospital, that is traumatic. There was a lot of stuff happening, but that little girl is home. She's laughing. She is a diva. She is like milking it for everything right now as she goes through this recovery process. So she has grandma and then her and then all of us right there just sending to her. But thank you guys for your support. There's a GoFundMe page where you guys can still go and support my friend Nikki as she tends to the needs of the medical needs of her daughter. She's gonna be taking a leave of absence from work, and so we're just working out all those logistics. And so I want to do my part and be able to support her and make sure that she's not having to worry about not going to work and that she's not going to have money to pay rent, her portion of the rent. And so GoFundMe, you can check it out. It's in some of my links. I might share it in this video, a little bit of the summary of what's going on today. But before we get into that, I'm going to go ahead and have you take a look at one of our sponsors. I want to thank so much Abogados a su Defensa. And you guys see here with me, it's a little bit of a sneak piece. Teresa is back in the house with me today. And she also has a friend. She's hiding right now. What is it, the masked singer? No, we have the masked therapist with us today. We might reveal to you a little bit later about what's going on. But today's show, we're going to be talking about teen dating violence. It is Teen Dating Violence Month, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So our masked therapist that's here with us today, she really specializes in working with teenagers, and she's really passionate about this topic. And so Teresa's going to help me have a dialogue and conversation with her. So we want you to stay tuned. If you are a teenager, or if you have a teenager, or if you know a teenager, and maybe you've seen some signs that maybe bring to mind, like possible trying to help them in some way, whatever. We're going to talk about what is teen dating violence. We're going to talk about all the specifics about that, get into details. But with that said, like I said, our sponsors, Abogados a su Defensa, the attorney Hector Morachi, I want to thank him so much for his sponsorship and his support. So we're going to check out a little promo on his behalf of the company. Check it out. We'll be right back in just 1 second.
Have you been involved in an accident? ¿Fuiste lastimado en un accidente? If so, I invite you to give my friends Abogados a su Defensa a phone call right now. Te puedes comunicar con ellos ahora mismo 24/7 al 805-436-1227. You can reach them right now at 805-436-1227. Free consultations. Las consultas son gratis. If we don't win, you don't pay. Si no ganamos, no cobramos. Once again, that number is 805-436-1227, 805-436-1227. Llámale a los abogados a su defensa. Su experiencia marca la diferencia.
We are back now because I've unmuted the microphone. So once again, it's me and the homegirl Teresa here with us, a licensed marriage and family therapist that's with us. covering, topics. She's one of my special guests and going to be one of our regulars in Jesus' name. And she's coming on here just pretty much to tackle this conversation of mental health. We really want to reduce the stigma of mental health. We want to make sure that the Latino community and just all communities, have access to information. A lot of times when people are receiving certain kind of benefits and Medi-Cal and things like that, they don't really always have the money for it or the resources. And so I consider this just like that direct engagement to be able to help give someone a tool, a resource, and maybe some encouragement about what is out there that can possibly help them. So let me go ahead and put our little titles here so that you guys see who we are right there. Paz. And then let me see my homegirl right here. Teresa Morales. How's the hubby doing, chica?
He's good.
He's good?
Home. Not watching the game because there's no Clippers game this week.
So no Clippers game this week. And what did you do for Valentine's Day?
Oh, we don't celebrate it.
You don't celebrate Valentine's Day?
No,
You
we
guys
don't.
celebrate love every day.
Always.
There
Yes.
you go. That's
I
beautiful.
think we gave it up like 10 years ago, maybe.
Okay.
Something like that.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, if you seem like you're okay with this, so I'm not even gonna press the issue anymore. Hey, Miss Silly Panda Media.
Yo.
What's going on, Bata?
Nothing.
You guys can't really. You guys maybe can hear her in the back. Oh yeah, like you can hear from that microphone. How,
Oh, never mind. Let me shut my mouth.
how was your Valentine's, chica?
It was wonderful.
It was beautiful.
It was beautiful, wonderful, memorable, and I think we're still recovering from Valentine's.
Oh.
We celebrate, every day too, but
Yeah.
it's extra special, so yeah.
Sweet. No, I love seeing your guys' posts with regards to you guys in LA, right? You guys went to Los Angeles?
Yeah, we saw the new Cirque du Soleil. He surprised me Saturday.
Circus? Oh
Yeah,
my
Cirque du
gosh.
Soleil, yeah.
I'm-
Bolt.
I'm so jelly.
You should be. It was good. Just kidding.
Yeah, it was. I saw it.
Oh,
It
you
was
did?
really, really
Well, I saw the
good.
videos.
Yeah.
I was like,
You'll
oh.
have to get a group together and go all together. It's really worth going again.
Let's do it. Let's get a group. Let's go. Andale.
It's there till March.
There till March?
Yeah.
How much are the tickets?
I don't know because I didn't buy them. He surprised me.
Okay. Jose, you can tell me later, bro, okay?
Priceless.
I might end up going to the ghetto version of Circus du Soleil.
You'll be watching from the
I
outside.
just might go to the hood. I just might go to the hood and just sit down and eat some popcorn and watch the people in the neighborhood. So I'm gonna be showing a little bit of a video. So one of the things that I feature sometimes is my What's Good foodie segments, where I take a visit to a local restaurant and I pretty much just eat the food in front of you guys and just make you guys want to be hungry. For those of you that are like trying to be on a diet, I'm sorry, I'm a tempter. But for other people, it's just really cool. I have some good times, and I ate in Nogales, girl. I had some tacos in Nogales, and the crazy thing is that everybody I went up to, like there was a bunch of people with stands, and they were like, I was like, can I take a video of you? I'm doing like these food reviews, and they're like, no. And then finally I found someone who actually had some good tacos, and we'll see that video in a second. But it's Teen Dating Violence Month.
Yes, it is.
What? Let's get into this topic. And so you have your special guest, and we'll introduce her in just a second, because one of the things is we potentially are waiting for Miguel to show up. Miguel had an emergency situation and he is tending to that right now. So for those of you that might be tuning in to see Miguel or hear Miguel, pray that something gets resolved quick and he'll be here for the second half. But if not, we have a bunch of information. I have some really knowledgeable individuals with us that we can carry this topic of teen dating violence, for the whole conversation. So, and I have Atlanta versus Nashville on here. I don't know why that's there. So, let's go ahead and change that
Love
really
it.
quick. So, teen dating violence. So, today is the month. And so, we're going to go ahead and put here. So, this is eating. What?
Edemia.
MYA?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And what
You
was
can
it?
put counseling. It's
Counseling?
Yeah,
Okay.
counseling.
So look at live, you guys, right now done with you guys. Here we go. Is that correct?
Yep.
That's right. All right. So it's Teen Dating Violence Month. And tell us a little bit about, teen dating violence. Like this, I know that some agencies like Interface, I know they did a lot of work with that, but give us a little bit of a, and then introduce your guest, because we'll go ahead and flip the camera to her also. We'll include her in this conversation, okay?
Yes. So teen dating violence it's basically intimate partner violence, but amongst adolescents. And when we're thinking about adolescents, we're thinking about the age range from, you're talking about preteens to maybe about the age of 19, 20, and some people will go as far as up to 24 because the brain does not stop developing. Well, technically the brain's always developing, but it stops around the age of 24.
Okay.
So it's still learning stuff. So around that age range. And so one of the so what is teen dating violence? So teen dating violence consists of physical abuse, psychological abuse, sexual abuse, and then stalking. So the physical abuse is going to be more of violence, hitting, pushing. When you talk about sexual abuse, that could be more of forcing your partner to have sex with you. It could be sexting when they don't want to sext, send nude pictures, but forcing them to do it. Or it could be them taking pictures of their partner and then sending it to their friends without their permission. And psychological abuse, it can look like calling names, putting them down. It could be having them always texting them and trying to figure out hey, where are you at, who are you with, why aren't you texting me, and I mean I'll have Alda go into a little bit more details about that, but so basically intimate partner violence, but amongst teens.
Wow. Okay.
So,
And so we're gonna go ahead and let you introduce your friend, your guest, your homegirl. We're gonna go ahead and bring her back in the camera right there, in the shot right there. So, go ahead.
So this is Ala Andrade.
Hi.
She's a therapist here in Oxnard. And am I looking at this?
This camera right here?
Okay, so she's a therapist in Oxnard. And do you want to talk a little? I brought her on because she's amazing with teens. She's my go-to for teens. And I personally don't work a lot with teens. I have over the years, but she is the person I go to for teens. Because she's a teen herself. So and I always tell her that. I'm like, this girl, no, you're a teen.
So you're a quinceañera for life?
Pretty much, yeah.
So how did you get into therapeutical services? Because we might go a little bit further, so it gives me a chance to put you on the spot and ask you some questions. So how did you get into therapeutical services? What motivated you to do this?
I always wanted to be a therapist since I was a kid. That's what I always wanted to do. I just wanted to help.
Okay.
And so for me, it was always when I was a kid, I would say oh, I'm gonna be a therapist. So that was my route. Yeah. There was nothing else for me.
Where are you from?
Here, Oxnard.
Oxnard? What barrio were you raised in?
Colonia.
Colonia, órale. We got a homegirl from Colonia. Teresa, where were you raised?
Santa Maria.
Santa Maria? Okay, pues Santa. Jose helped me out with that right there. I'm a white guy sometimes, so I don't know all the hood talk. But I'm not going to put my foot in my mouth this time. I am using a filter.
Yes.
And congratulations, huh? Yay for me. The narcissist. Okay, so going back to Ada. La Colonia, wanted to be a therapist. When did you actually become a therapist?
I think I finished, I'm 25, 26 years old.
Okay.
I started doing therapy. I wasn't living in Colorado.
Okay.
And so I was doing therapy there. And then I moved back here in 2015 and have been doing therapy since then. And so I'm still an AMFT, so I'm not licensed, and which hopefully soon enough I will be. But I've been working with teenagers mostly, foster kids, kids that have sexually abused, kids that have been sexually abused. So I've worked with a variety of kids.
Okay.
Kids and teenagers, mostly teenagers.
And you've been doing this for how many years now? This population?
With teens, pretty much since I started being a therapist. I've always worked with kids and teens.
Okay.
So for 10 years?
Yeah, almost
10,
11 years.
Okay. So one of the things that she put in her title, because I have you as Latina mental health therapist.
Yes.
So what is the reason by emphasizing Latina?
Because I emphasize more on working with the Hispanic community.
Awesome.
With the Latino community. I've done so much research. I've been working with them all throughout my career, so I know.
So that's your specialty,
that's
right
what
there.
I do, Latinos, and teenagers,
Awesome.
adolescents. Yeah.
Wow, that's some powerful stuff. Congratulations.
Well, because I want to help my community. I want to make sure like they're getting the support that they can and making sure that they get the needs that they need with mental health too, because it can be scary.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and let Teresa have some other questions with you, and so this camera is going to be the one that you guys will be focusing on. So, Teresa, get into maybe some specifics, some details, and let's pick Ada's brain, because there might be a family member that's out there witnessing, and I'll let you guys take the conversation over. Go ahead.
Okay. So, and I wanted to add too, she's amazing because she will work till like 8 o'clock at night to attend the needs of the community.
Yeah.
And a lot of the community works like in the fields.
Mm-hmm.
And so by the time they get out, they have to, go home, make dinner, shower, and then they come to therapy. So
Wow.
give you that credit too.
Yay.
Well, yeah, because it's like they feel like they have to either miss work or they're going to lose their job if they keep missing work because they're coming for their kids' therapy. And so what's going to be better for them, going to work or helping their kid? They need the money to pay the rent. They need money for food. So they're going to stay with working. And so it's really good that some nonprofit agencies will work with the families and making sure like that we're staying there late to see them. So and Interface is one of them.
Yeah. So I want to pick your brain a little bit about your experience with teens. Like, what do you see in the work that you do when you're working, like when you come across a client that's kind of like red flags, like I think this person is in a violent relationship?
They're always on their phone. So one of the things is not only just stalking, regular stalking, it's now cyber stalking, it's now sexting, it's all of that, it's all on the phones, it's all through social media. They're always worried about like what they're either I'm seeing the perpetrator or I'm seeing the victim. Because it's also men and women do the same. They can also be the perpetrator. So it's not just the girls.
Can you go ahead?
And so what you're seeing is they're always on their phone. They're always checking. They always have to answer it. Even in therapy, I always have to remind them. I'm like, hey, we're not supposed to be using our phones here. They're like, oh, sorry. And then or their constant conversations are about their relationship and about like the things that their boyfriend or girlfriends are doing, that they're always checking their phones on them. They're always seeing who they're talking to. They get mad if they have other male friends or female friends, like opposite sex friends.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, why are you always talking to this person? Why are you always talking to that person? So right now, what you're seeing with teenagers is a lot over the phone. And that's kind of like a little bit of a warning sign of like, are they just talking to one specific person? Are they always getting into arguments over just because of like little things that parents would see as like, why is that such a big deal? It's like, yeah, you have friends, go out with your friends. And it's like, no, I'm going to stay here with them.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, no, because then what if he calls me? Or what if she calls me and then I'm not available?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're noticing a lot more.
You mentioned that in session you're seeing both perpetrators and then the victims.
Mm-hmm.
Can you clarify a little bit more about like what would it look like for a perpetrator, and then what would it look like for a victim?
A perpetrator would be more like they're always getting mad because their partner is always talking to the opposite sex, or they're always getting upset because they're not available, or why are they talking to this person and not me, or then sometimes it's like, oh, I just pushed her, or I just we got into a fight and I accidentally pushed her.
Mm-hmm.
But then it keeps getting worse and worse. The victim will mostly be very defensive towards anyone that is attacking the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always like, he's doing this and this to me, but I love him. But no, but I love her. Like, no, everything is fine. Everything is great. Like, no, we're fine.
Mm-hmm.
And so then it's like, if you go and attack the person that they're talking about, you lose them right then and there. They're done. They're like, you don't believe me. You're not there for me. You are just trying to attack us. You're trying to break us up just like my parents are. I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the other part of like, if you're not with them, if you don't get their trust, then you're not going to get them to talk more about what's really going on and for them to notice how much of a controlling relationship they may be having. Because right now what I see is a lot of controlling relationships. It's not even like physical abuse. They don't even talk about the physical abuse. It's right then and there, just the control part.
And that stems from the trauma.
Yes.
Because I'm guessing they've had trauma of some sort.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And it's also what they've seen at home. So it's, if they see this at home, or if they see this in other relationships in their lives, then they're going to mimic what they're seeing. And so they're going to continue doing what they see and thinking, well, that's okay because, you know, my parents were like that. My mom would never go out. My mom would always stay home. Like she didn't care. And it's like, but are you sure she didn't care? Or is that what she told you?
Yeah.
And then it's like, and then things come out little by little. Well, yeah, she would get upset, like get mad at my dad because like he wouldn't let her out, or like always like complaining, where are you going? Why are you spending so much money? All of this stuff. And so then sometimes the girls don't become the victims. They can also become the perpetrators because they see, I don't want to be like mom, or I want to be strong. I want to make sure no one's going to take over me. And so then they start becoming more perpetrators.
One thing, and that actually reminds me of, so it makes me think about same-sex relationships. So one thing that I've read on and that I've heard over the years is that when you are in the relationship of of the same sex, like for the most part they had a heterosexual, their parents are heterosexual, so they really didn't have that modeled. So therefore, when you are in a same-sex relationship, the abuse is much more intense. And I don't know, this could be like more statistic wise, and there's just more issues because they don't know, it hasn't been modeled, and that goes back to like modeling and parents modeling and making sure it's important for them. Do you see any of that, or are you seeing just the same stuff, so just like a lot of controlling and a lot of...
Yeah, and I disagree with that because it all depends on the person and who they want to relate to, which parent they're more connected with, or which parent do they see as a strength, and so, or which one they were closer to. So it just depends. Sometimes it's just like they're just playing out what they saw. So if their parents were that way, then they may have those aspects, because we all we're learning through what we see, but not just through our parents, because maybe we have the most healthiest parents with a healthy relationship, but then it's like, what are we seeing at school? What are we seeing with our other friends? What are we seeing on TV? All of that stuff. So it just depends on like what they're actually viewing and what viewpoints they want to have in their own lives. What are their values? What is it that they're accepting in? And so sometimes I think with what I've seen with same sex, they play out both roles. Sometimes they're the victim and sometimes they're the perpetrator. But most of the time it's like when they're being the perpetrator, they're mostly like the victim. They want to be this tough person, but then they keep getting pushed down by their partner. And it could be going back and forth with each other of like who they're gonna play, which role are they gonna play today.
Oh, that's confusing.
Oh yeah, very confusing, because sometimes I would see things and I'm just like, I don't know whose side to be on, and I'm just like, I don't know what's going on here or what's wrong. But it's more of like, it's difficult because, and that's just personal experience of whose side to be on, because of having friends and everything. But as a therapist, it's like you kind of have to view both sides and see what is going on, or what are the dynamics of that relationship, and what are they mimicking, or is it that they're learning this from home, or are they learning this from somewhere else? Because I've had also kids that don't have very healthy parents and within a healthy relationship, like healthy parents in a healthy relationship partners, but they're all over the place. They're just letting themselves be walked over, letting themselves be controlled. And it's like, where is this coming from? Why do they feel like they're less than? Why do they need this relationship? Why do they keep accepting this if their parents are not showing them that this is okay in a relationship? So where is this coming from? And it could be also individual trauma that they've gone through within whatever happened in their childhood.
So it's possible to have parents that are, that have a healthy relationship, But yeah,
Mhm.
if they've experienced trauma on their own, there's a possibility that they can still engage in this type of relationship.
There's a variety of ways of reasons as to why someone gets into a teen dating violence.
Mhm.
It could be just like it all started with where it was like, oh, he's just making fun of me, or she just calls me stupid all the time. It's fine.
Mhm.
And then it starts getting bigger, and then like more psychological stuff starts happening. So then it gets worse and worse because they're not noticing it. It could be because they're just joking around, and all the teens say like, everyone calls them we all say like, oh, you're stupid, oh, you're dumb and everything.
Mhm.
But it's like, when does it get to the point where it's too much? Sometimes it could be a joke, and other times it's just too much.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, when can it be too much of like name calling and everything? But then the other part is, yeah, it could be trauma. It could be what they're seeing at home with the relationships that they've seen in their lives.
Mhm.
It could be what they're seeing at school. It could be what they're seeing on TV or on social media, or like the people, like the famous people that they see on TV,
Yeah.
or like that they've talked about their stories, or that they are not ready to talk about their stories, but that we know that they've been in a domestic violence situation.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. So
Okay.
one of the things I really appreciate the fact that you're tackling a lot of this stuff and actually talking about, you know, how sometimes it's what they're seeing in their homes and what's taking place. But we're gonna go ahead and take a break really quick.
Okay.
We're gonna come back. We're gonna go ahead and take a look. This is a powerful moment right here. If you are a parent, you know, we're talking about the signs, we're talking about the things that you might see, and you know, some of you might notice a behavioral change in your teenager, and you might not know what it is, and you might see them, like, you know, Ada was saying, on their phone on a regular basis. And you know, we want you to tune in. Do not go. We're gonna come right back. We're gonna check out this What's Good Foodie Nogales edition, and then we'll go ahead and take a look once again also at our sponsor, Hector Marache, Abogados a su Defensa, and we'll be right back after this break. Okay, guys, don't go away, and if you do, pues la chancla. All right. All right.
Aquí el señor Bigote viene a comer todos los días sus taquitos dorados, sus papas locas y sus tortas.
Hola familia, ¿qué onda? Tu servidor Ricardo Ñales aquí con ustedes. Y bueno, pues estamos aquí en la bella ciudad de Nogales, en México. Y aquí estamos en un lugar donde anoche vine y los tacos estaban bien ricos. Y ahorita vamos a ir a ver estos tacos deliciosos y vas a ver y mirar qué hay de bueno aquí con los tacos Obregón. Síganme para acá adentro para ver lo que está pasando. Come on, let's go. Aquí estamos adentro, taquería Obregón, y bueno, pues vamos a ver lo que tienen aquí. Mira, ponte atención aquí, tienen un poquito de carne asada, están preparando, ¿qué estamos preparando aquí?
Aquí el señor Bigote viene a comer todos los días sus taquitos dorados, sus papas locas y sus tortas. Estamos presentes todos los días.
So, le vamos a echar un poquito de salsa aquí, salsa, es la casera, ¿no?
Aquí la casera,
Salsa casera, guacamole,
su cebollita
mira.
y acompañando a mi amigo Ricardo, que anda trabajando muy duro,
Echándole ganas.
echándonos ganas aquí a Nogales.
Uy, mira, es un palillo, ¿no sal?
Equivocación porque le echó unos palillos de los tacos. Ay, nomás, no pasa nada.
So here we go. Mira, mira esto.
Son los mejores tacos.
Here we go, guys, mira.
Dale.
Tacos Obregón, Nogales, México. ¿Qué es la dirección aquí?
Calle Campillo frente a Farmacia en la Plaza.
Ay, mi gente. Dios me los bendiga. Edición México. Ciao. Bye bye. I've had so much food, so we're gonna give it away to my homie. So they let us back in the country. Woohoo! They asked us if I was bringing anything back, and I said I'm only bringing the burritos, the chimichangas, and the tacos that I ate. But we made it. Have you been involved in an accident? ¿Fuiste lastimado en un accidente? If so, I invite you to give my friends Abogados a su Defensa a phone call right now. Te puedes comunicar con ellos ahora mismo 24/7 al 805-436-1227. You can reach them right now at 805-436-1227. Free consultations. Las consultas son gratis. If we don't win, you don't pay. Si no ganamos, no cobramos. Once again, that number is 805-436-1227. 805-436-1227. Llámale a los abogados a su defensa. Su experiencia marca la diferencia. All right, guys. Well, we're back. Thank you guys so much. Hopefully, for those of you that maybe don't know Spanish, a lot of the video from Nogales, well, of course, if I'm in Nogales, I'm going to be talking a lot more Spanish, but hopefully you were able to see how delicioso los tacos were. The tacos were so delicious. They were made with flour tortillas, and the steam was everywhere, and the guacamole was just on point, and the cebolla was on point, and the horchata was on, everything was just on point. It was delicious.
I want tacos now.
I want to know chata now.
So we are having a conversation. We have licensed marriage and family therapist Teresa with us today. She also has a special guest, Ada, that's joining us today, specializing in specifically working with teens on the subject of dating violence. And it's something that's happening. It's actually February is Teen Dating Violence Month. And so I've just been listening and just going like, this is some good stuff. And so for those of you that are watching, if you know someone, maybe you'll watch the rebroadcast. We do apologize for those of you that are tuning in and there's still the glitching. The rebroadcast will have pretty much be smooth, and hopefully that gets up within the next 24 hours via YouTube, and you'll have access to that later, okay? So we continue our conversation here. We're working about preventing teen dating violence. We've talked about what it is. We've talked about that it consists of physical violence, sexual violence, psychological aggression, and stalking. Did we talk a little bit about how big the problem is? No? Ada, go ahead. I'm turning it back over here to Ada. Ada, how big is this problem right now?
So the statistics with the CDC, they say that nearly 1 in 11 female teens and about 1 in 15 male teens are reported experiencing physical dating violence in the last year. So about 1 in 9 females and 1 in 36 males of high school students reported experiencing sexual dating violence in the last year. And 26% of women and 15% of men experience intimate partner violence for the first time before the age of 18.
Wow. And so one of the things, the last bullet point right there was talking about the burden of this. It says it's not shared equally across all groups. Sexual minority groups are disproportionately affected by all the forms of violence. And would that be the group that you were talking about in the end, the same sex?
Same sex.
Okay.
The same sex community, Latinos, African Americans, Asian Americans, or even Asians, and Native Americans too. It's all like, it all varies differently for each subgroup because it can all be different. This is just a general one, but sometimes like with certain groups, it's like they don't talk about it. It's not talked about, or it's like, oh, it's no big deal. It's like, and we know because we've been hit before, so it's like, oh, no big deal. Like, la chancla, whatever, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so we know that. So that's what happens. So it's not, so it could be underreported, and so there could be more. in certain subgroups.
And just in general, males, for males do underreport than females.
Yeah, and that's why it says like 1 in 15. I mean, it could also be equal to women, because why are males, especially when in heterosexual relationships, males are way least likely to report domestic violence, because it's like, it's that whole stigma of like, well, why didn't you do anything?
Yeah.
You're bigger than her. What do you mean she's attacking you? What?
Yeah.
But it's like, if I hit her, then I'm going to jail.
Mm-hmm.
And so it gets to that extreme.
Wow. So, and I'm gonna let Teresa, because we're gonna talk a little bit. I know part of the data that we have here is like the consequences, and so some of the things that we can do to help stop this.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is really why I want to talk about it, because if the domestic violence, I talk a lot about it amongst adults. I talk about it as being a victim of domestic violence as a young kid, and so one of the things that I've seen is you do see it amongst teenagers. You do see them mirroring that stuff, and so I'm gonna go ahead and pass it over here to La Comadre Teresa to go ahead and continue this conversation with you. If you're watching, if you're a parent and you're watching, this is some good information, valuable information. If you have a teen, I think this is really important that you guys listen, you pay attention to the teacher, because they're talking.
So Ala, what are the consequences? Let's say they are in an unhealthy relationship, and this is going on for months or for a year or something. Are there any long-term consequences?
Well, there could be depression, there could be anxiety. Sometimes if it even gets really bad, or even with one incident, there could be PTSD. It could be just after just one incident, there could be a lot of trauma with it, depending on the person, on how they feel over it. They can also be using drugs or alcohol to cope with everything that's going on, especially if they can't talk about it, or if they feel like they have to stay quiet. There's a variety of things, even like risk of suicide, and sometimes it's even where the perpetrator will threaten that he's going to hurt himself. If you leave me, I'm going to kill myself, or if you leave me, I'm going to kill you. And sometimes it's like murder suicide, and we've seen that even in adult relationships where there has been murder suicide in DV relationships.
Yeah, close to our community too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So, and obviously, I would guess that, when they start drinking or using drugs, that can develop into addictions, and and then further into when they become an adult, it's just hard to kick. And then, do you know I don't know if you read or know any of the statistics or information about like when they are in a unhealthy relationship, can they get out of it, or what is the likelihood of them getting out of it?
They can get out of it, and it takes time. I mean, they can be in multiple relationships that are unhealthy. They can also like, depending on the family, get them the help that they need right away, just by getting them into therapy, or even by the parents talking to them and just trying to get them help, or trying to figure out what's going on, what's happening, how can they help that person. But it's going to take a while, because the victim has to see that there is something going on. So the person that's being attacked has to see like, wait, I can't do this anymore.
Right.
This is too much.
So what do you do as a parent or as a caregiver when you're noticing like those signs and those symptoms, and you're concerned that your child may be in an unhealthy relationship, and you confront them and they deny it?
You just let them know that you're there for them, because and even it's not even confronting them, it's kind of just talking to them and just being like, hey, what's going on? What's happening here? Or just even trying to start those conversations even before it gets really bad. When they start having a relationship, is talking to them, oh, like, how are you guys doing? Or how's everything been? Or how was your date? Just so that it's an open, healthy conversation between parents and kids. Sometimes we think, oh, we shouldn't be talking about that. Like, they're dating, that's their stuff. Like, don't get involved. And it's like, but no, you should be involved. This is your kid. You should know what's going on, who they're dating, who they're hanging out with. It's not just like, who their friends are. It's like, who are they dating? What's going on? It's not being overbearing. It's just asking simple questions. It's just being a supportive parent. And sometimes kids think that they're being overbearing by just asking them questions of like how their date was, but it's like
Why
hey,
you being so nosy?
yeah, but it's like, no, just wanting to know, like I just want to know like how, if you guys had fun, like what you guys do, and just letting them like letting the kids or the teens talk what they want to talk about and give them that space of like, okay, well, I'm just going to do this amount, and then but just listening to them and not just right away judging them and being like, wait, why did he say that? That's not okay. It's like right away, it's like, I'm not even going to tell you anything anymore, mom or dad.
So what are some other things like the parents should not say to their teens? Because I noticed I mentioned confront. You're like, well, no, not confront. It's more
Not
like,
yet.
right? So what should they avoid saying?
I think it's the judging, the don't do that. Like, why is he doing that? Or why is she doing that?
So asking
or
like those direct
those
questions?
very direct questions. It's more of
Okay.
like, it's kind of going around it, but being also direct. So it's like, you think that's okay? Oh, well, or like just facial expressions. It's like, oh, he said that, or wow, I can't believe she did that, and just like that, it's like, oh, okay, and it's just leaving it at that, and then of course they're gonna be like, wait, why are you looking at me like that, or why, and it's like, oh, I'm just okay, I'm surprised, and that's it. I'm just surprised about what he said or what she said, or like, wow, I'm like.
As a parent, I'm not a parent, but I would think like as a parent, you can't, when you're concerned that your child is in an abusive relationship, you can't hold back, and you're not gonna go around.
No, of course not.
So what can a parent do if they can't work directly with their child? Like, is there anything like as far as like reaching out to the counselor, or I'm thinking like more like community, like resources, or like.
I think it's more of like resources, talking to other parents. It's also talking to, if they have like maybe a school counselor or the school, to see what's going on, if they have any ideas, because sometimes the school knows. They know what's going on. They gossip. You know, they're seeing what's happening, they're seeing what's going on, they'll talk about it. But it's also of like going around it as a way of like, hey, I'm just concerned, or I'm just worried. But leaving it to what you're feeling as a parent, and not of like, you're doing something wrong. It's like, I'm scared. This doesn't sound good. Just leaving it at that. I'm like, I don't like that. And it's like, and if they get mad, it's like, I just care about you. I don't want anything bad to happen to you. That's not okay. And so letting them know with those statements, and being also in a calming voice, and being in a like concerning voice, because if you're elevated, you know your kids are going to get elevated with you too, and they're going to be slamming doors and just ignoring everything that you're telling them, because we don't like it. We don't like it when it's like always like, you're doing this wrong, and no, and it's like, no, even as adults we don't like it, and it's like, okay, bye, done.
Yeah, you're checked out. Okay. So I had a question and I lost my train of thought. But how to do with parents. I think as a therapist, I like to work with my parents, and I work a lot with them sitting in their own anxiety. So it's kind of like, I hear a lot of parents tell me like, no, like, oh, but I don't want to be the bad guy, or yeah, but if I talk to them, or if I say that, you know, they're not going to talk to me about things. Like, there's that fear of if they even open up this door, then their child is going to be mad at them. And then also too, I would think that if you have a conversation with your child about this, then it's possible that it is true, and then what? And I think like there's a lot of fear around that. And so what would you recommend like for parents that are just, they have their own anxiety, their own fears about even having that conversation with their kiddos, with their kids?
Sit with it. Kind of move forward, because try to move forward. Talk about it with someone about that anxiety that you're going through over having this conversation, and even practicing it out with like someone to like be like, this is what I need to say, but I'm scared, because that fear that is holding you back, it's like, how are you going to help your kid? And it stays quiet. And so then they're not getting the help that they need because you're stuck in your own fear, you're stuck in your own anxiety, and it's like they need you. So it's like, so if you're still stuck and frozen, then let's get you some help. Let's you talk to a therapist to figure out how to talk to your son or daughter about what's going on in their relationship. Or even if their kid is seeing a therapist, talk to their therapist and be like, I'm feeling stuck. How am I going to talk to my kid about this when I'm scared that he or she's going to shut me out?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, then let's talk about how you're going to do this. Because if you're not trying it, then they're still in that relationship. It's like you're trying to act like it's all like hidden. And it's not. It's there. You see it, but you're too scared of being the parent of like talking to them about what's going on. And granted, sometimes we're not used to this. Our families, our parents were in the Latino community, especially, we don't talk about sex. It's rarely talked about. And so it's like, and of course, even relationships, even more like, you just know, oh, they're dating so-and-so. But do you know the person that they're dating? Or is, like, do you see them? Have you met them? Like, what's going on there? And it's like, do you even know if they're having sex or not? Oh, no, that's not talked about. And we don't know. And so it's like, it's always this hidden thing of, like, we don't know how to talk to our kids about relationships. Why? Because our parents never talked to us about relationships. And their parents never talked to them about relationships. It's just like you're dating someone, you get married, that's your stuff, there you go. And so that's what happens.
I like the fact, like, one of the things that when I did a parenting class, part of the process of helping these parents, giving them the tools and the resources was helping them identify, like, look, if you're stuck with something in your own personal life, then go get yourself help. And I think that's really hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard for a parent, and some parents are out there trying to navigate and help and instruct their children, and they don't realize that their children are hearing what they're saying, but they're seeing something completely different. And I think that's one of the things personally, like, where I seen, like, my mom was telling me, hey, if anyone ever does anything to you, you tell somebody. And then yet here I was witnessing her being physically assaulted and abused, but she wasn't telling anybody. It was a secret. And so the actions were reinforcing don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. And I'm hearing a lot that term sit with it. Like, so like what does that mean, like, sit with it? Like, because I know what it means now, but I know, like, when I first was told, like, sit with it, I was like, what do you mean sit with it? I don't want to sit with it. You know, I don't want to go there. But so explain. I mean, I'll let both of you guys maybe chime in on this.
The guru of existential. Do you want to explain sit with it?
Yes,
Sit with your anxiety?
This is why I love people that. What happened? Oh, we're talking about her anxiety? Oh.
Like, sit with the anxiety?
Yeah, so, and I talk about that a lot because, and I encourage my clients to just kind of sit with your emotions. So that means if you're feeling that anxiety, you want to just feel it. And that means sitting down and just being aware that I'm freaking out right now and shit, what am I going to do? And just like being aware of that. That's it. Just sit with it. Okay. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, what does that feel like? It feels like I'm going to go crazy right now. It feels like I can't even take one step in front of the other. And just stay with that and just feel that in your body and just be aware of it, head to toe, what is happening in your body, what's going on through your mind, and just be with that. Because when you can be with that, you're teaching yourself awareness, like body awareness, and then awareness of like you're able to connect like your body and your mind and trying to figure out like what's happening, and then you're able to label it. So it's like, okay, this is my anxiety getting the best of me. This is just me, being a human being, and that's it. And just going with that. And it's so when it kind of goes to this, it's just like just being there. You can tell I'm like really passionate about it. Just being there in the moment and just feeling everything and just sitting with it. And it's just like, okay, this is it. And shit, all right, I'm gonna go have this conversation now. It's
so like right now when I heard you do that sigh, I've experienced it recently. It's like it's so liberating just to sit there and be like, okay, this is happening right now, feel, cry, whatever. Don't stuff it. Don't go get a donut. Don't go get a cookie. Don't go, to some porn site. Like, don't do what you would normally do that would be destructive. And then you just and then if you just sit there with it for a moment, it gets better.
Yeah, it does. But it's freaking scary.
Yeah, because our impulse is like, let's numb this right now.
Yes.
Let's not think about this right now.
Exactly.
But why not have that donut?
Oh my god.
No. I'm the avoider on that.
We're going to
I'm like, I want that
after
donut.
this, okay?
Right?
So yeah, thank you about this, just sharing a little bit more about that, sitting with it, because I think it's very liberating. And it's something, it doesn't just, you don't just get there. Like, we have the background and we have the resources and the education, but some people, it's not easy for them.
Yeah.
Like, when I used to do an anger management class, I had to take people through 15 weeks, and a lot of it was just having them sit with their emotions, identify their feelings, the physical cues, the cognitive cues, the behavioral cues, and the emotional cues. It was repeatedly telling them the same thing over and over again, because some of them are so disconnected from their emotions and their feelings that they just keep on going. And it just takes them to start actually documenting it and feeling it. But like I said, the whole sitting with it has been something that's just been really helping me a lot just recently with a lot of stuff that I'm going through.
Yeah, and I just want to add bringing some awareness with your own anxieties, because a lot of times we are afraid to do something. It's like, well, no, they're gonna get offended, or no, like, what if they tell me this, or no, like, I shouldn't, I don't want to say this because, I think I'm gonna hurt their feelings. And it's like, okay, very valid, but if you're hurting their feelings, if you are, offending them, why do you think that is? Like, really think about that. It's because it's their own shit. Like, it's their crap that they haven't dealt with yet, because they're having an emotional reaction to it. Granted, if you're, going out of your way and you're telling them something like demeaning and being mean to them, okay, that's something different.
Yeah.
But this is more of just kind of being aware of, like, okay, so is it your own anxiety, or like what's happening there? So just kind of being aware of, like, yes, it's normal to be concerned about this, but maybe you just need to check in with yourself.
Yeah, because just talking about it brings up that whole gaslighting conversation. Where you feel like, I don't want to say nothing because they always make me feel like I'm the wrong one. But one of the things in co-custody parenting we would teach people is that there's that counterattack. That once someone is offended, they get defensive, and then once they get defensive, they counterattack, and then that just ends, and it just keeps on going.
Yes.
And I think that's where you brought up, like, the fact about when addressing your children, to make sure that you don't push their button so that they get defensive and get offended, and then they want to slam the door on you and not talk to you at all.
But then it's also knowing that if they get defensive and they're saying like they're feeling attacked even when they're not being attacked, it's just like, okay, let them have that moment and just let them know, like, you're here to talk to them when they're ready to, or when they feel calm. Like, I'm just here for you. I'm just worried about you. That's it. And not go, because when they're attacking, then you want to attack them too, because it's like, oh, hell no, you're not talking to me like that.
Yeah.
It's like, but it's like they're protecting their partner.
Yeah.
They're protecting the person that they love, and if they feel like someone's attacking them, then they're gonna go at it with anyone.
But I'd rather be a parent, full, like, feeling shit, like, did I do right or did I do wrong, or, feeling like crap, or feeling like you let your child down, than to have missed that.
Wow. That's powerful right there. And I think a lot of times we, in all situations, we avoid it. Rather, we don't want to hurt someone's feelings, or we don't want to go there. But, like, I think I like the fact that you said that you got to let them feel that. There's a reason why they feel that way. There's a reason why they're responding that way. And that's really powerful. So we're coming here on about the last 5 minutes of our conversation and our dialogue. And so we've talked about, for those of you guys that are watching with us right now, we've talked about what teen dating violence is. If you're just tuning in right now, rewatch the rebroadcast either through Facebook or through YouTube so that you can get the basic information that we started off with. But we've been talking about what it is. And so what is it, Ada?
Yes, what?
What is it? Oh, wait.
Oh.
There it is, right there.
Oh, yes. Physical abuse, sexual abuse, psychological aggression, stalking, cyber stalking. It's just a variety.
And we're recapping how big is the problem, and you can keep it very limited to your own reference and your own words. Because Ventura County has the highest percentage of domestic violence situations. I mean, I've heard the statistics, I've heard the numbers, like Ventura County, if that's what our adult population is going through, imagine what our teen population is going through.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. And from tweens to, so from 10 to 24, 1 in 3 are in a violent relationship.
1 in 3?
Yes. From those age ranges, from 10 to 24.
Wow.
And they broke it down, what you went
Yes.
over earlier, but this is more of just like that.
That big broad
Yeah.
range. Yeah.
It makes me, it honestly gets me a little bit emotional. Because to think that there are teenagers that are processing and trying to handle and navigate adult problems as a teenager, and they're stuck. Some of them are stuck because they don't. I mean, our generations now, they're on their phone. They don't really reach out. They're just amongst themselves, and then that's where you got people committing suicide, just all this other stuff that's happening. But let's so we've talked about what it is. We've talked about how big the problem is, and this is why we're addressing it. We're talking about it because for it to have a month where it's bringing awareness to it is something that we have to talk about. I think it's something really important. We've talked about the consequences, and then let's go ahead and recap. What can we do as a parent? What can we do as an adult if we are witnessing this? Maybe what might be an uncle or an aunt, a grandparent, a foster parent. So let's try to recap. What can we do to stop this before it starts? And we've talked a little bit about it, but I want to sort of capture that in the recap in these last closing minutes with both of you.
So kind of having like a talk with your kids about what a healthy relationship looks like. That's like the way beginning. Like, what does that look like? What does dating look like? How is it that someone should treat you? That should be the first conversation parents should have with their kids. As scary as it is, it's like before they even start dating or like they're thinking about it, it's like, hey, let's talk about it. So that's one of the things that I highly recommend, just having that first conversation.
And I think I want to add to that is modeling your own relationships with for your kids. Because they're always watching the way mom and dad talk to each other. If your parents, you guys aren't together, when kids are going into, each different homes, how are you modeling your relationship with, your partner, and then, and vice versa when the child is at another home. And so just being aware of that your child is always looking and watching you as young as, 2, 3 years old.
Yeah.
To when they get to that age, when they start dating, because they're going to be dating without you knowing.
And I think this is a wake-up call for parents that for whatever reason, sometimes it has to be this conversation to wake you up and help you realize that maybe you need to get out of the relationship that you're in right now. And one of the things that we always want to let people know, if you are in a situation where you need assistance and you need help, 211 is a number here in Ventura County that you have access to 24/7, because we can give you the hotlines and we can give you all that. But 211 will connect you directly. They can get you connected directly to our crisis line, Interfaith Children and Family Services, the Coalition for Family Harmony. Both of these agencies run domestic violence shelters where individuals, that if you're in that situation, you can get rescued. You can get put in a position where you are no longer in that circumstance, no longer in that situation, and you protect yourself, but also your children because they're watching. So 211 is an excellent number, an excellent resource.
And also even going on their website for 211, say you're not ready to talk to someone over the phone, you could still get those resources online. So that's another option for people that are like, I mean, I don't like talking to people on the phone, so I know that. So for me, it's like searching online, going on 211 if I need anything or any like services for my clients, I search for it there and I give them the resources. And you can print it out or you can have it on your phone.
Cool, good stuff.
Yeah.
You any closing words? We have about 30 seconds left.
I just wanted to say thank you for coming on, Ada. You're very informative.
I'm like, I don't like being on camera, but yes, as you see, I'm like very passionate about my teens.
Yes, she is.
No, and your passion, when you speak, you have the knowledge, you have the information, and we appreciate the work that you're doing. We appreciate the work that you're doing with our teenagers. We appreciate it because that's our future. Those are our future generations there. Okay, so with that said, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Once again, we're highlighting teen dating violence. Unfortunately, our guest Miguel was not able to make it with us. We send our prayers with him, but he had some pipe problems, and so he's there handling business. But you know what? There was a reason. We needed to have this full conversation about teen dating violence, and I want to thank you so much, Teresa, for being a friend, not only as a supporter with regards to coming on the show, but there's been times where I've called you, you know, and you've been able to help me and be able to help me process some of the things that I'm going through, because regardless of who you are, regardless of whatever title you have, regardless of, you know, how many years experience you have, anybody can fall in this trap of getting stuck in their emotions, stuck in their feelings, to the place where they feel like there's no other option. And we're here to tell you that there are options. You can get help. You are never alone. I don't care what it is you're going through. I don't care how embarrassing it may be. Please reach out and get help, whether it's domestic violence, whether you're struggling with depression, whether you have suicidal thoughts. We're here to talk about mental health. We're here to remove the stigma. We're here to let you know that you're not crazy. You're human. All right? So God bless you once again. Thank you, Chica, so much. High five.
Yeah. Thank you for having me again.
We did it. And now we're going to mute this right